breaking story here. The Chicago Bulls have called a press conference for tomorrow morning, and there's high speculation and a report that Michael Jordan will retire from basketball forever. As
sudden and shocking retirement of the NBA's greatest player, Michael Jordan.
I'm shocked. I'm just as shocked as the next person. The guy's a competitor. If I had to bet, I would never say he would ever retire. You'd have to throw him out of the league.
We'll have to see if Michael Jordan has any second thoughts about this retirement.
Many of the people we spoke with say they believe Michael Jordan will return to basketball.
On October 6th, the greatest player to ever touch a basketball retires out of nowhere. A retirement none of us saw coming. This is a conspiracy story of one of the most iconic basketball players to ever play the game. A secret suspension David Stern did not want you to know about. In 1991, Michael Jordan and the Bulls defeated arguably the best point guard in the franchise in the NBA Finals, Magic Johnson and the Lakers in a 4-1 series. Then in 1992, taking the championship over the Blazers 4-2. Lastly, finishing the three-peat, defeating Charles Barkley and the Phoenix Suns 4-2.
We feel we must be considered one of the best teams ever.
It was a clean sweep. Michael Jordan engraved his name in the history of professional basketball. But just after winning an amazing run, winning 3 championships back to back to back, Jordan retires. But why would he want to retire now, when he could have gone for a 4-peat, 5-peat, or even 6-peat? We have to go back in time to see the events that led up to this moment. After the 1993 season, a tragedy happened.
2 18-year-olds accused of murdering the father of basketball star Michael Jordan.
Mr. Jordan had pulled off the side of the road to rest for a while, and he was shot to death while in his car and was taken to the state of South Carolina and placed into the swamp where he was found.
Michael Jordan was especially close with his father. There was no doubt in people's mind that there was any other reason to retire than this. But what if I told you that there is a possibility that that wasn't the reason? That there was a problem that could have been bothering Jordan for a long time. An addiction. Jordan is widely recognized as the greatest player of all time, but to reach the top, he had to be highly competitive and driven. However, his hobby for gambling became a dangerous mix with his competitiveness and resulted in a severe addiction that put everything he had at risk. Let me explain. We don't know when Jordan's gambling hobby started, but we do know that he had this habit in high school. In a letter written to his high school prom date, according to Roland Lazenby's book, Michael Jordan, The Life, he said that he was happy that she had paid off a bet that he'd won against her. In 2019, a $5 check written in 1984 by Jordan to a fellow North Carolina student went up for auction. It was February 27th, 1984, and Jordan, in the mood to play pool, went to the basement of the Granville Towers on UNC's campus and proceeded to dominate the table. The guys were betting on money, and MJ was up $25. A friend of the guy Jordan was beating thought Michael was his hustling buddy, so he stepped in to play MJ and win back some of the money he'd lost. MJ lost a few games in a row, which the cosigner says irritated Jordan. So he decided to cash out and take the $5 he was owed. Realizing Jordan was likely going to be an NBA superstar, asked Michael if he can pay him with a personal check. Michael accepted, and the UNC student wrote the check to Mike Jordan, the name basketball phenom went by on campus. After Jordan made it to the NBA, it only got worse, especially with the money he was making at the time. Jordan loved the competition and was willing to gamble anytime, anywhere, and with anyone. He would gamble with anyone from reporters to security guards to even superstars. In Michael Jordan's hit documentary The Last Dance, we see glimpses of him and his competition problem. On March 23, 1998, Michael is seen playing pitching pennies with one of the security guards, John Wozniak. As the game goes on, Jordan gets more and more competitive.
I give y'all 4 tries to beat mine. 1 toss.
1 toss?
Yeah.
And 4 tries?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, put your money up first. I've seen it.
How much? $20?
Yep.
Give it. Hey, got CT.
Man, your stuff rolls. You see how he just roll up there?
See, watch this roll right in my pocket. I got good at this.
Yeah, y'all get the hell out of here. Go protect the damn United Center. Security! Yes, come get security out of here.
But this was only a tiny fraction of Jordan's gambling past.
But he would come up to the front. He's like, "What are you guys doing? You mind if I play?" I remember John Paxson looking at him and going, "Why in the hell do you want to play with us? We're playing for $1 a hand." And I remember he looked at him and goes, "Because I want to say I got your money in my pocket."
During the 2-day break in the 1991 playoffs against the Philadelphia 76ers, Michael Jordan took an all-night trip to Atlantic City to just relax and kick back and get some rest, staying away from the limelight and all the hype. But that wasn't the case. Atlantic City is famous for their bright lights and their very extravagant casinos. The writer Mark Vansel said they walked back into the team's hotel in Philadelphia at 6:30 a.m. Just as coach Phil Jackson was walking out, Vansel said Jordan said hello and Jackson said hello and kept walking. Jordan then attended a 10 a.m. practice, looking bleary-eyed. There would be only one thing MJ would be doing in Atlantic City: to gamble. Not convinced? Before Game 2 in the 1993 Eastern Conference Finals against the New York Knicks, Jordan takes another trip to the famous and extravagant Atlantic City by taking a limo with his father and his close friends. The New York Times quoted 2 unnamed sources, reported he was still in the Bally's Grand Casino, a 2-hour car ride from Manhattan, at 2:30 a.m. Tuesday. Then the Bulls proceeded to lose Game 2 the next day, with Jordan missing 20 of his 32 shots, including 8 of his last 10. In 1992, after winning his second championship, Jordan participated in high-stakes gambling with a man named James Slim Buhler. James Slim Buhler was a notorious drug dealer and golf hustler back in the day. One day, Jordan was called to testify in the trial for Buhler. Buhler was charged with money laundering and drug possession. While going through Buhler's belongings, they found a check for $50,000 in James's jacket, with Jordan's name and signature. In an 8-minute court appearance, Jordan testified he gave Buhler a $57,000 check to cover his golf losses, as well as money he borrowed from Buhler to cover poker and other gambling debts at Hilton Head Island. Jordan said Buhler hadn't joined in any poker games. Then again in 1992, a bail bondsman by the name of Eddie Dow was found murdered outside his home. His own men set up his murder and fled with $20,000 in cash from Eddie's briefcase. Then the authorities found the briefcase in the North Carolina woods, and inside the bag were 3 checks written by Jordan for a total of $108,000. After both of these events, David Stern had no choice but to start an investigation. Because who knows, he might be betting on the NBA games as well. But after the investigations, there was no evidence of any wrongdoings on Jordan's part. Nike opened up an exclusive store for Michael Jordan called the Flight 23. It was later found out that his father used the money for himself, which started to create a rift between James and Dolores Jordan. The business he had started with Larry after Flight 23 fiasco were now failing, as authorities moved in to collect unpaid taxes, and suppliers began removing items from store shelves over the unpaid bills. He was engaged in a furious battle with Dolores. Joint bank accounts were closed, thus destroying the final shred of credit for his business. Payroll wasn't made, and each phone call from his secretary seemed to bring yet more troubles. According to his daughter, her father rarely complained to his children that his wife was trying to ruin him in the eyes of his children. And that's when things started to go downhill for Jordan. With all this going on, plus the fame, lights, and the cameras, he needed to find peace, and the only way he could do that is through golf. Through golf, Jordan was at peace. No noise, no drama, just a good time. But something was missing, or should I say itching.
Do you play Jordan for money at all?
Oh, you used to play for him all the time. Why would you play golf if you don't play it for money?
Well, Mike won't play unless it's for money, right?
No question.
Jordan would gamble on golf games with his golfing partners, and he would slowly increase the bets. Then on June 3rd, 1993, a man named Richard Esquinas, a general manager of the San Antonio Sports Arena, came out saying Jordan owed him $1.3 million in gambling debts. However, Jordan denied the claim, saying he only ever owed him $300,000. David Stern had no choice but to open up another investigation. This is the second investigation in the span of a year. As the head of the NBA, you can't let this keep happening. You need to tie consequence with the crime, or else this will keep happening. But as the NBA commissioner, you can't suspend your star player. He's basically the face of the league. Just imagine what would happen if Michael Jordan got suspended from the NBA. All hell would break loose. Fans would stop watching, the league's image would be ruined, and this could also heavily affect your bottom line. David Stern can't afford suspending him publicly, but what if he suspended him secretly? In a way no one would know. What if we covered it as a retirement? Then everyone would forget we even had an investigation. During the second investigation, Michael Jordan suddenly calls for a press conference and abruptly announces his retirement. He announces his retirement during the investigation? A little bit suspicious, don't you think? To add fuel to the fire, the investigation closes 1.5 weeks after the retirement announcement. A perfect way to cover up a suspension. Michael Jordan's competitive nature is legendary, both on and off the basketball court. His drive to win was not limited to just sports, as he demonstrated his intense competitiveness in everything he did, from golfing to gambling to even a simple game of cards. Some argue that this trait made him the greatest athlete and entrepreneur, while others see it as a flaw leading to rivalries, grudges, and addiction. However, there's no denying that his competitiveness was a defining aspect of his success and legacy.